Drew McIntyre is set to challenge Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship in a couple of weeks at WWE Clash at the Castle, live from Glasgow, Scotland. So the important question is, should Drew McIntyre win in what I assume will be the main event, the World Heavyweight Championship? I've identified 3 key factors going into this match, and let's talk through them. Number 1, as I've already mentioned, probably the biggest factor. It's in Scotland, Drew McIntyre's home country. So that is obviously a huge factor in all of this. We've had Clash at the Castle before, it was in Wales. People who aren't from the UK, Scotland and Wales are different places. Scotland, Drew McIntyre's hometown. He was against Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle in Wales. He lost. Everyone thought he was going to win at the time. He lost, so he didn't get that home area, not home country, but home area moment. So will this be the time that he gets that? Potentially, you could argue it should be. There is a lot of other things involved in it though that we'll get to down the line. But Drew McIntyre still, in a way, hasn't had his moment in front of the fans that he so desperately deserves for all of the amazing work he's done. Now, that is his own character's fault, of course. At WrestleMania, he won the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins, got that big moment in front of his crowd, his partner was there, and then he taunted CM Punk and he ultimately cost himself the World Heavyweight Championship. Sorry if I keep clearing my throat, I'm a bit under the weather at the moment. So yeah, he's had his moment, but he hasn't had his moment. He hasn't been able to actually have a title run since, the pandemic, which he did amazingly in, and he really does deserve another true title run. So being in Scotland, his home country, that probably leaves him more towards the yes to answering our question of should Drew McIntyre win the World Heavyweight Championship. But as I said, there is other factors involved. And a name that has haunted Drew McIntyre for the last 6-7 months, and that of course being CM Punk. These two have built an incredible feud without actually wrestling each other, which is an incredible skill and a testament to just how good both of these guys are at talking and cutting promos. Of course, it all based around that interaction they had at the Royal Rumble where Drew injured CM Punk, and we've just built everything from there. The basis of the storyline, short and simple, Drew McIntyre is obsessed with CM Punk. It is a unbelievably unhealthy obsession with CM Punk. He can't stop talking about him in every promo. It seems everything he does is built around CM Punk. Now, CM Punk has, in a way, been haunting Drew McIntyre, but mainly because Drew has been letting him. And obviously that's all part of the character, and it's been amazing from both of them. So obviously there is the high likelihood that CM Punk gets involved in this match and costs Drew the title in one way or another. Now, the question we have to ask with CM Punk is, when obviously these two are going to have a match at some point eventually, is that match going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship or not? And that sort of depends, I think, on how soon we can have that match. Now, as far as I know, so CM Punk has been out since the Royal Rumble. We've seen in that time, I believe he had surgery. He had that sort of big cast thing. He's not wearing that anymore, so that would suggest that he's on the mend. I don't know an exact time frame of how long until we have CM Punk back in active competition. Drew, of course, himself is just coming off of an injury that kept him out for a little while, hence why we're only just now getting his rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship. But CM Punk, it's such a good story that they're telling, and the fact they can do it without wrestling is incredible. But do these two need the World Heavyweight Championship in their feud? And I think, again, it depends when we get the match, because It's not going to be at SummerSlam, and we know that because Gunther won the King of the Ring tournament, which earns him a match for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. Now, that would then leave us, because I think it's fair to say CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre has to happen at a major sort of Big Four pay-per-view, PLE, sorry. So that leaves us Survivor Series, the Royal Rumble, or next year's WrestleMania. Now, again, I don't know the time frame on CM Punk's injury. I would assume he would be back for Survivor Series, but I'm not entirely sure. And it feels weird to say this, it doesn't feel big enough, it feels too big for Survivor Series. But because Survivor Series is, a historical pay-per-view, it's one of the Big Four. But this just feels like a WrestleMania match. And if it is going to be a WrestleMania match, does that mean he won't win the World Heavyweight Championship? I'm not sure. Oh, it's a really difficult one. I've sort of planned out this video thinking about what my answer was in my head, and now the more I'm sort of talking myself through it, the more my mind's changing, and hopefully that's happening with you guys as well watching it. Hopefully it's making you question whether or not you think he should win it. The third point I had identified beforehand is he the right person to take the title off of Damian Priest? Now, before Damian Priest started his title run, before he cashed in Money in the Bank, I wasn't sold on him at all. I thought he just didn't really have much depth to his character, apart from being sort of the second man in the Judgment Day behind second person behind Rhea Ripley. But since he's won the title, I don't know what it is, but I feel like he's just grown this aura around himself, and he feels genuinely like a really big deal. I think he's been helped by Rhea Ripley's injury, but he does feel like a really big deal, and I think the title suits him. So the question is Drew the right person to take the title off of him? As we mentioned, Gunther will have a title match at SummerSlam, and that poses issues in itself because I still think Gunther should be the one to take the title off of Cody Rhodes. Maybe at this time. And I think at the moment, I know we're literally half a year away, but at the moment I think he's my favourite to win next year's Royal Rumble. So that would obviously put Gunther on the other side of it, which would mean Damian Priest would retain at SummerSlam. Obviously before that we have the match with Drew. CM Punk's involved, there's dissension in the Judgment Day, there's so many different story elements involved in this one match that sort of make this huge bubble surrounding the match, and then it all centers back into the two wrestlers involved. I made a video a few weeks ago now, maybe a bit longer, of who I thought at the time should be the next person to win every championship in the WWE. In that video, go watch it if you haven't. I've already got some of them wrong because there's been some title changes, but in that video I said Finn Balor should be the one to take the World Heavyweight Championship off Damian Priest. And I still really, really like that idea. I think they've obviously been sowing seeds of dissension within the Judgment Day. Finn Balor's sort of a few subtle facial expressions that I'm sure are very deliberate to sort of sow the seeds of doubt in the mind of their relationship. So I think Finn Balor is still a really good choice to win it. And all of this shows how strong the WWE is at the moment, that there's all of these people, Braun Strowman's getting involved as well, all of these people who are in the title picture, who are credible winners, who you could see winning the title. And that's a testament to how strong WWE is at the moment. But I'm sort of waffling on here and skating around the main point of, is he the right person to take the title? I think Drew deserves the title. I think maybe he wins it. Oh, so I've just had, thoughts are just coming into my mind as I'm talking here. What if Drew would win the title and CM Punk would win Money in the Bank and cash in on him? I'm not sure I like that idea because I don't think CM Punk needs Money in the Bank, but that would sort of work well with the storyline involved. Anyway, all of these things are just all the different elements involved in should Drew McIntyre win the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash at the Castle. Let me know what your answer is to the question. Maybe I've sort of triggered a few thoughts going through your mind throughout this video that have maybe changed what your thoughts were coming into the video. Hopefully that's the case, because that's what wrestling's about. Let's just be thinkful is not a word, thoughtful, and expand our minds to what we think could happen. Obviously, I am British, if you didn't know, if you couldn't tell from my delightful English accent. So I'm going to say, yes, Drew McIntyre should win the World Heavyweight Championship. He is the only ever Brit to have won the World Heavyweight WWE Championship. So I want to see him do well. It's in Scotland. It would be an amazing moment. The atmosphere will be incredible, I'm sure. But do you disagree? Do you agree? Please let me know. Should Drew McIntyre win the World Heavyweight Championship? Yes is my answer. Let me know yours. Please like the video, subscribe for more weekly wrestling content, and thank you for watching.